this video, you will learn how to divide fractions. Before we begin, it's important to understand what a reciprocal is. To write the reciprocal of any fraction, simply switch the numerator and the denominator. So the reciprocal of 1/2 is 2 over 1. Something important to know about reciprocals is if you multiply a fraction by its reciprocal, it's going to equal 1. Here you can see that 1/2 times 2 over 1 is 2 over 2, because 1 times 2 is 2 and 2 times 1 is 2. And any fraction that has the same numerator and denominator is equal to 1. Let's look at our first problem, 1/2 divided by 2/3. So what we're trying to figure out is how many 2/3 fit into 1/2. Remember the reciprocal? This is where the reciprocal comes in. We're going to rewrite this problem as 1/2 times the reciprocal of 2/3, so 3 over 2. And we know that to multiply fractions, we just multiply straight across. 1 times 3 is 3, and 2 times 2 is 4. So 1/2 times 3/2 is 3/4. This also means that 1/2 divided by 2/3 equals 3/4. That means that 3/4 of 2/3 will fit into 1/2. That's a lot of fractions. Example number 2, 4/7 divided by 2/9. Remember, we're going to rewrite the problem by multiplying the first number by its reciprocal. So now we have 4/7 times 9/2. One of the things that we remember from multiplying is that we can cancel out the corners. In this case, the 2 and the 4 are both divisible by 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2, so we will cross off the 4 and make it into a 2. And 2 divided by 2 is 1, so we'll cross off the 2 and make it a 1. Now we simply multiply straight across. So we have 2 times 9 is 18, and 7 times 1 is 7. But that can be simplified. When the number on top is more than the number on the bottom, we can rewrite it as a mixed fraction. 14 of those 7ths makes 2 whole, and then there are 4 left over. So 18/7 is equal to 2 and 4/7. Ultimately, our answer 2 and 4/7 is the answer to 4/7 divided by 2/9. So 2/9 is a fairly small amount. Well, 2 and 4/7 of that can fit into 4/7. Example number 3, 3 1/5 divided by 2/3. Let's rewrite the first fraction as an improper fraction. We can do this by doing 3 times 5, which is 15, then adding 1, 16. So 3 1/5 is equal to 16/5. If that second number were a mixed fraction, we would need to do the same thing. But in this case, it's just 2/3. So we need to multiply by the reciprocal of 2/3. So now we have 16/5 times 3/2. Let's see if we can simplify anything now so we don't have to simplify later. I see that the 16 and the 2, those are both even numbers, so they're both divisible by 2. 16 divided by 2 is 8, and 2 divided by 2 is 1. So we can cross them off and replace them with those numbers. Now we can multiply straight across. 8 times 3 is 24, and 5 times 1 is 5. And we can see our top number now is more than our bottom number, so there are more than one whole here. 20 of those fifths can make 4 whole. Then there are 4 left over. So 24 over 5 is actually equal to 4 4/5. We can check and see if that makes sense for our problem by thinking about what the problem is asking us. Remember, when we divide, we're trying to see how many of that second number can fit into the first number. 2/3 is a lot smaller than 3 1/5. So does it make sense that we could fit 4 of them, almost 5 of them, into 3 1/5? It does. 3 1/5 divided by 2/3 is 4 4/5. A little trick to remember how to divide fractions. Skip the first, flip the second, that's the reciprocal, and multiply instead of divide. Skip, flip, multiply. And remember that whenever you're multiplying with positives and negatives, the same rules apply as what we learned about integers. If you're multiplying two numbers with the same signs, your answer is positive. If you're multiplying two numbers with different signs, your answer is going to be negative. Keep in mind that if you have an odd number of negatives, like 1 negative or 3 negatives or 5 negatives, your answer will be negative. But if you have an even number of negatives, like 2 of them or 4 of them or 6 of them, your answer will be positive. Now you should know how to divide fractions. Thanks for watching.